know each other. So obviously, you know Taylor Weaver I'm
Yeah.
talking about, and he was on here and he kind of talked about being able to leverage his skill set, which is normally it costs a lot of money to get somebody such as him to kind of do work on a particular case for a company or whatever, and being able to leverage that to say, okay, I'll just take equity in the company and I'll help you out at a reduced cost or maybe for free depending on the amount of equity. So can you, and this is the whole point of acquiring a skill that's something that's valuable, because man, if you're working, I don't want to feel like I'm bashing on a plant, but if you're working at a plant for 30 years, like nobody's gonna kind of give you these opportunities, these life-changing opportunities or potentially life-changing opportunities to come kind of help them out in different ways. It's like, I know we're going to pay you a livable wage or a working wage to come help me out in my business. But now you have this skill or you're developing this subject matter expertise in this, this niche field. So now the company, like you said, the guy is starting up his own thing. He's like, hey, do you want to help me out? But he's not just saying, okay, I'm gonna just pay you a salary. It's equity and there's other things tied to that. So can you kind of go through that process, walk through that process of how that came to be and the importance of that and how kind of beneficial has that worked out as far as leveraging the expertise to get some equity in the cannabis company?
Absolutely. So that same partner that approached me about working on his files at the firm that were cannabis related, about 2 or 3 years into my practice, went to go be the chief legal officer of Emerald Growth Partners, which is Pleasantries. So when he left, I took over most, if not all, of his Michigan files. So I'm servicing our Michigan clients as the main point of contact for at least a year, almost a year and a half, while he is in-house as one of the clients of the firm. So I'm helping him now as outside counsel as he's the chief legal officer. And now I'm servicing all the other clients that he left behind, essentially. So I'm boots on the ground learning everything that I can about cannabis, because now it's critical. It's different to be, option 2 versus now option 1A, right? And I'm like, hey, they called me like there's no lapse in time.
Right.
And then, like I said, about a year and a half into doing that, he actually had a director of compliance role open up. He said, as soon as that role opened up, I knew exactly who to call. He gave me a call and was like, hey, man, do you want to come do this thing with me kind of on the company side?
Right.
And I'm like, that's perfect, because you know that I know these rules back and front. You know that I know how to do this from the outside counsel standpoint. And it offered me a very unique opportunity to be inside the company and kind of see how the sausage is made, right? And not just be a lawyer in your watchtower offering business advice to a company that you've never been integrated with. And with that opportunity to come was an opportunity at equity in the company, right? So I'm like, I mean, the industry is booming. There seems no better time to kind of both dive fully into that niche that I was developing by being, again, that in-house aspect let you be a legal mind in a business realm. And say sometimes you just need another smart person in the room to help this go the way that it's supposed to go, right? And I could be, from a rule standpoint, yes, we can do this. No, we can't do that.
Right.
I was in the stores helping with inventory. I was, helping them get licenses and do inspections from, MDARD and MIOSHA and all types of regulatory work that was a broader scope than what I would have actually been asked to do in a law firm. So it gave me an opportunity to dive deeper into my expertise, get equity in a company and an industry that I believe is going to blow up and continue to blow up. And then I did that for exactly a year, vested a bucket of equity. And then at the same time, the firm that I'm with, I left a hole, right?
Yeah.
So we have attorneys that do what I do in several other states, but Michigan was a need. And I used kind of my additional expertise that I just gained by going in-house with the company to leverage that back to the firm that I'm with now and was with before, which is Dickinson Wright.
Right.
So it was kind of like an opportunity to get equity, learn more than I would be able to otherwise, because it's a hands-on experience, and then go back home with the same knowledge and still have Pleasantries as an outside counsel client, still service plenty of clients in Michigan and other states. So it was like I almost kind of it as like I was like absconded, right? Like that's right, when your attorney goes and works to the company for a specific amount of time. Like it was the perfect scenario for me to learn all the things that I needed to learn and leverage that to make my next play.
So like it's a couple of things. I guess the first question I want to ask you is, would you have done, because it seems like obviously the equity almost was like just a cherry on the top. I mean, I think it's big value and a lot of people, just the average person, they don't know this, but when you're doing legal work at a private firm, obviously you're getting expertise, and you know a lot of different things from the legal side, from the private firm standpoint. But it's a different part of it, like you said, maybe from the business standpoint or whatever, that you maybe don't know how to do just because you haven't done it when you're on the business side of things. There's other things that you're taking into
Yeah, as a
account.
lawyer, you do exactly what they ask you to do, right?
For
Like,
sure. Yep.
I want you
Exactly.
to answer this specific
Yep.
question.
Yep.
Like
For sure.
in house, it's like, hey, we have a general issue, and this whole team is moving forward toward goal A, B, and C.
Yep.
How do all these things work together? So you're stepping outside of your role. You're wearing 5 different hats that necessarily, as a, like I said, a lawyer in your watchtower, that doesn't even bubble up to the top of asking for outside legal assistance,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
it was like I said, real world experience that is invaluable to be able to then offer to clients, right? So I can say, no, I know how this really goes. Okay. I
So
know what you need to be doing. I
yep.
know what you're not doing right now. And I have that relationship with our regulator, the cannabis regulatory agency, but based on being an attorney and
And
being part of the operation of a company.
so he really know what's going on. He's just not on some theory, looking at the statute stuff, but
Not reading the rules,
yeah,
not
for
like what
sure.
they think a lawyer is being a nerd, like,
Yeah.
well, the rules say, like,
Right.
no, I'm like, I can
Exactly.
tell you what happens in this industry.
So I got a couple questions for you. So with that, would you have still taken that opportunity to work in-house if it didn't have the equity standpoint, or if it was still enough of a benefit with just learning the other side that you would have still did it even if the equity wasn't tied to it?
I think I did it because it was a breath of fresh air.
Okay.
You've worked in law firms, you know how it goes,
Yep.
and you can work as hard as you want, and there will always be more work to do,
For
right?
sure. You
And
can
I'm
get
like, okay, sometimes you're searching for your why. Like, and I'm like, all right, well, I like what I'm doing, but if there's something that could make this better for me, both on a personal satisfaction standpoint, and I get to learn, and I get to do the things and be with the people that I want to be with. Like I
yeah.
said, bro, it was a mentor directly to me. And the director of legal ops was also a person who was directly a mentor to me. So it was like our legal department over there was 2 other attorneys. It was 3
Right.
attorneys total that I would have rocked with,
Yeah.
equity or not.
For
And it
sure.
gave me an opportunity to do those things.
Yeah.
And it was a cherry on top. So like
And
I
look,
think sometimes you got to do it for knowing the benefits of it,
yeah,
not
yeah.
just the monetary or the
For
equity.
sure, for sure. But and again, we like to use the word finesse in our culture or whatever, but I think finesse really isn't the proper word for it. But just to kind of break down and give a summary of what you did to these people, I don't want to say to these people, but what you did ultimately, you're at a company making, let's be honest, a lot of money. You then go to in-house. I mean, you're working at a law firm making a lot of money. You then go in-house working on the company side of things to get even more experience in this particular niche field of law. You're still getting paid a salary, and you had equity in the company. Then once that equity vests and the law firm wanted you back, now you have more experience. You have
Use
not
it as
they really have a
leverage.
pony, yeah, exactly. So you have a lot more leverage because you have more experience, and they really want you back. And now they really have to pony up to get you to come back. It's not like, okay, well, again, man, it's the price yesterday isn't the price what it is today type thing. So now you're coming back there, you came back there in a lot better situation than what you left with having all the experience that you acquired in that year, so that you was working at the company level. And I don't want that to get lost in the shuffle or lost in translation or in a conversation, man. That's again, that's the whole point. At least from my standpoint, my perspective, my opinion, that's what acquiring a skill is. It gives you opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise been able to kind of make the most out of. And then again, you're still making good money. You're getting equity in companies that you feel that is growth opportunities out there. And man, I tip my cap to what you did. I'm not sure if you were intentional as it relates to it kind of working out that way, or if it just kind of fell in your lap. But regardless of the matter, man, I think you did something that others can learn from, and I'm hoping that people who watch this they learn from it. But it is something that I think should be applauded. Absolutely.
Hey man, I appreciate it. Absolutely. I use it as leverage as the extent that I could,
Yep,
man. Made it make sense for me and for both,
for sure.
all the companies that I was at. And
Yep.
I appreciate it, man. Like